Oh, recording is in progress. Well, hey, thanks everybody. And Coach Sarge here. Super excited for another episode of TNP Hockey. Thanks everybody so far for your support. It's been awesome to get the feedback that we've been getting. I know to this point we haven't been able to get Ivan or Garrett on the show, but they're grinding away. Everybody's got different schedules. Stuff like that happens. But if you could do me a huge favor and us a huge favor, if you can click that favorite little follow, subscribe, those beautiful buttons that we love so much. Hit that. All right. It's only going to help us out and keep this train rolling. But yeah, no, seriously, all the support has been awesome. And so what I went out and did is I'm feeling like it's Christmas time. Christmas is coming up. And I was like, you know what? I'm feeling generous. I'm not just going to go out and get one awesome guest. I'm going to go out and get two. Okay. So this is what's going to happen for this episode. I went out and I talked to my buddy Dan, who's I'm going to introduce him in a minute. And he went out and found one of his buddies who I guess he plays hockey. I'm not too sure. We'll figure it out in this episode. And so I'm going to introduce them both, and then we're going to get this thing on the road. So just to start with introductions, we'll start with actually, we'll change it up. We'll start with Daniel. Daniel, hey, you know what? People love the Doug Bossy episode so much.
Yeah.
You're like, well, we got to get this guy back on. And I thought, well, one of the next best things to do, I was like, let's get his left-hand man. Let's get Dan Sarnecki on the horn and get him on here. And then he could tell us about, the family advising thing and working with Dougie. And yeah, just that's enough of me talking whatever I'm saying. You can go ahead and introduce yourself, how our next guest, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, so like what Zach was touching base on. First of all, they're both named Zach here. Moving forward, Zack Sharp, his nickname is going to be Sharpie, and I'm going to be referring to him as that. Zach Sargis is going to be Sarge. I'm not going to say Zach because it's just going to cause too much confusion. What Zach was saying, Zach reached out to me and wanted me to come on the podcast and talk a little bit about the family advising, but in the little agency that I do right now and who I'm with, but right now that's for a later time. I just want to talk. I wanted to bring in a special guest, and I knew that this gentleman was at home right now suffering from a nice injury, and I wanted to get him on the horn as well.
All right.
So let's introduce you, Sioux Falls Stampede defenseman. All six. Let's see this really quick. All here. 6 foot, Daniel, half.
Let me help you out here. I got the whole intro set up and ready to go because ahead, man. I was super excited, and thank you for setting this up. But we got this kid from Naperville, Illinois, and what a beauty, right? Like grew up in Naperville. He's 6'1", 185, like soaking wet.
No. A USHL, 171. And his height and weight was confirmed by NHL Central Scouting. So
okay, thank you NHL for fact checking. We appreciate that. Grew up playing AAA in the Chicagoland area. Now he's playing over in the U show, in the USHL for the Sioux Falls Stampede. How are you? And then Team USA had a little stint there for the Hlinka Cup. I know we were texting back and forth about that. Committed to WMU, Western Michigan. Let's go Broncos. And I have a feeling that there's a lot more on the horizon for this kid. So thanks for letting me introduce you, Sharpie. Sharpie, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. So you talking about it? Where are you at? Are you home right now, or are you?
Yeah, so I'm at home. So obviously I got a tooth knocked out 2 weeks ago in Waterloo, so I had to come home for emergency surgery and stuff like that. So nice to be home for a little break, and then obviously Christmas break next week. So kind of just took advantage of it, being home, seeing friends, family. So it's been nice break from hockey, but excited to get back. I go back, I think January 2nd. So excited to get back, but a couple more doctor's appointments before that.
Yeah, all honesty. So if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple or whatever, hey, it does not look that bad.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It's just regular hockey smile, but just missing one tooth. It was really bad when I didn't have any teeth and my lip was gashed, but It looks better
Yeah.
now. The doctors did a good job.
Do you want to like hop right in and start the show with that? Like what's the story behind it? Like how that all happened?
Yeah, we can. From what I remember, so it's probably my second shift in the game. Forward was coming down. He cut to the middle, and so I put on my stick to kind of deflect the shot, and it ramped up my stick into my face, so the puck hit my teeth and knocked him out, and then his stick followed through on my face too, and caught my left side of my lip open. So my lip was kind of hanging by a thread, and so I needed 20 stitches there, and then obviously they found two of the three of my teeth on the ice, and then they put two teeth back in when I was laying on the table, I think outside of our locker room, and then they rushed me to the hospital to get my lip fixed, and then my teeth. They did. I don't really remember what else they did to my teeth, but they gave me a bunch of medicine, not feel anything, but I remember I went in a shock after it happened, and then I went back and I watched, like when I was in the hospital, I watched what happened and stuff, and then I didn't realize how much blood like loss from my mouth there was, but they showed it. They showed an angle from behind the net, and it was actually pretty scary, like how much blood there was. That, and then
Yeah.
I
On the
remember,
ice?
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
Just
just
a
like it all
pile,
because I
just a
remember I had
puddle.
I remember I had my glove by my hand, and then I dropped it to like see what happened. It all just came out. I remember the trainer the next day told me, like, because I had to go back to the rink the next day to get my gear to bring home. And I remember he said he didn't have my gloves because they were getting cleaned like 3 times because it was just all blood on my palms. And there's still blood left over on my gloves. But
So
I mean, that's really what I remember from what happened.
well, yeah, good for you for like it's crazy how that stuff happens. I'm glad you're all right.
Yeah.
So this happened in Waterloo.
Yeah. About 2
And
weeks ago.
you know what? I feel like it's maybe understated or people don't realize it enough too, is like so they patched you up a little bit there, like right on the spot.
Yeah. They just put 2 of my teeth back in. So, and I remember they found them, and then they gave them to the trainer. And then my trainer, I remember he said that like this is gonna hurt. And I was like, "What? Like, what are you doing?" And he says, "I'm putting your teeth back in." And one tooth got put in normally, and then the other didn't go in normally. So
Yeah. But the part I'm trying to get to is like it's actually awesome and super understated how well and like how good these teams have people like ready on hand for like when emergencies like this happen. So I
yeah,
know maybe like sure your parents were freaking out at the time, but really they had
yeah,
like good procedures in place to like patch you up, get you in a good spot to where you're relatively comfortable. But yeah, glad you're doing all right, big guy.
yeah, yeah. Thanks.
So just we were going through what we want to talk about today a little. And Daniel, do you have any questions for Sharpie?
No, I mean, it all depends on where do you want to start off with. I have so many questions for Sharpie, even though
Yeah.
I know probably all the answers to them.
All right. So you grew up in Naperville. What was growing up like for you? How did you get into hockey? Like, tell us that type of story.
My mom played hockey around the area when she grew up. So when I was able to walk, so she just put me on skates. I actually started skating at Seven Bridges. So it's pretty cool growing up, still playing there sometimes, working out, training there. And like, that's really where I grew up at Seven Bridges. So it's pretty cool.
Okay, nice. I need
Yeah.
to turn my attention to Daniel Sarnecki real quick. Hey, what are you drinking that Polish water?
Yes,
You guys are gypsies, huh?
yes, straight
Um,
carbonated water from the springs in Poland,
Beautiful.
in Krakow.
I actually wanted to start with this too, but like yesterday, I guess, we live in a condo unit, so there's a bunch of other people here, and some of the people are Polish here. And so we saw Monica, saw one of our older neighbors, she's probably like 65, and she was like, "Oh wow, like I didn't recognize you." And you can probably relate to this, how Polish people are like, will say, "Hey, if your palm's a G, like you're gonna have money come in," or like something like that. And she's like, "Oh, I didn't recognize you. That means like, you know, you're gonna be wealthy." And I was like, "What? How does that tie
Yeah, I
together?"
mean, there's a lot of different weird sayings, and I don't know if I believe all of them, but I mean, that's up to who the person is really, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So Sharpie, you grew up playing like AAA. Did you start off like right away playing AAA, or how did you get into that? And then talk about like the path from, you know, where you started playing AAA, and then how you got to the USHL.
So I started at, I think, the Naperville Sabres for pretty much my whole like youth career until Pee Wee minor. Then I went for Pee Wee minor year. I went to Chicago Americans for 2 years, and then I went to Team Illinois for 2 years, and then I played for Chicago Mission the last 2 years. So I played Mission.
You were jumping around. You were missing Fury on that list.
No, I would never go to Fury.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Yeah, so I played
Keep going.
So I played Mission U15, U16 year, and then U15 years when the USHL draft was, and then I got drafted to Sioux Falls U15 year. And then
yeah, keep going.
I'll stop you whenever you played my U16 year, and then this is my first year in the USHL. Well, I played 7 games last year after my U16 year in the USHL with Sioux Falls.
Got the call up. I remember talking to you. I forgot what team you guys were playing.
Des Moines. Des Moines was my first game.
No. You were still playing at Mission. I went to go talk with you, and then I think you were the one that told me, you're like, hey, I think after the year, I'm gonna head up to Sioux Falls, and I'm like, do it, love it.
Yeah. So I had 7 games there. It was about a month. Lost in the semifinals to the national championship. U16 year, yeah. So then 2 days later, I was on a plane to Sioux Falls, which was
quick turnaround.
pretty cool.
I mean, they want to, they want to get you up there as quick as they can.
Yeah.
I mean, the more time away you spend on the ice, I feel is just not ideal for yourself or for the team. They want to get you on a plane. They want to get you back on the ice and start getting acclimated.
Definitely.
So really quick, what were your coaches? I did not know actually that you played for CYA, aka now the Windy City Storm.
Yeah, Harley and Jonah. Harley Fisher and Jonah Ory. So I played for them for 2 years, and then at Team Illinois I played for Russ Nemenko and then Tom Newton.
Okay, Tom Newton. Okay, what was your decision after 2 years at CYA, 2 years at Team Illinois to be like, you know what, U15 year, probably, let's be honest, the biggest year of any youth players hockey career, due to the fact that that's where everything opens up for you guys, where it comes to OHL draft, NTDP selection, OHL draft. I mean, I think they made a change in how old you guys would be to commit, but I know back when me and Sarge played, we literally had, I think, 13 and 14 years old already committing NCAA.
Yeah, that was the change. You had to be after your U15 year, that summer, September 1st, you could commit. So I mean, I remember finished year at TI and then wait a little bit to like start thinking about like, oh, like maybe we should start branching out and go to Mission. I mean, Mission was always the #1 team, and everyone wanted to beat them. And it's kind of like, you can't beat them, join them. So I mean, I thought, so we got in contact with Mark Roy and then Yannick, and then we just kind of talked about going there, and then they offer a spot. So kind of hard to
U15 year, correct?
Yeah, so kind of hard to not take that. So went there. Yeah. And then we had a really good team. Like we had.
Yeah, I'm looking up your roster right now.
How many guys are the 3 NTDP kids? A lot of kids in USHL.
Yeah, those 3 NTDP kids would be Carter Slager, Gabe Perreault, and Paul Fisher, correct?
Yeah. So I mean, obviously we had a really good team that year. We lost in semifinals and nationals there too. So I mean, 2 third places at nationals isn't really good, but
no, it's just really good runs.
Yeah, I mean, really good runs. A lot of potential on both teams, but came up short both times. But I mean, really cool experiences with both of those teams to do that.
Yeah. Do you remember what the teams were that you came into and you ended up like losing to at
Yeah,
nationals?
the Honey Baked team in the semifinals, they ended up winning the national championship. And then U16 year BK Selects, they ended up winning too. So, I mean, makes it a little better that they ended up winning. We lost to the winning team, but still stings. But
Yeah, never feels good, but at least
yeah,
you know, like that was probably the championship game, right? Where you guys probably had a pretty close game, and then
yeah,
just ran into hot hand.
yeah.
Um,
So really
so
quick, go. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sarge.
no, I'll use Dan.
Yeah. So really quick, with let's go back to your U15 year. So did you know going into that year that it was going to be? I mean, not to put crazy pressure on you guys, but it is a very very big year for the under 15 players in the country due to the fact that NTDP is watching, USHL scouts are watching, OHL scouts are watching.
Um,
Yes, go ahead.
I mean, yeah, I had an idea about it. Like, I wasn't the most informed about it. Like, it wasn't my only worry
Mhm.
about it. But like, as the season picked up and scouts started coming to watch, and you start talking to these guys, then you started getting more informed about it. And then you like know, like, oh, these guys are here, they're watching you. And then colleges are there too. I mean, our games used to be packed with OHL, USHL,
Yeah, especially
colleges,
your
and the
U15
NTP
year. I
is,
mean,
yeah.
how good you
I
guys
mean,
were, I guarantee
yeah,
you. A lot of
yeah.
scouts
I
had
mean,
you guys, whoever you guys played, circled on your calendar whenever you guys went to, whether it was Illinois, Michigan, Wisconsin, wherever it is you guys were playing, they wanted to go watch.
yeah. I mean, it was almost every game there was an NTP scout there. I mean, we were always in Michigan. I mean, they were always there. Our games used to just be packed with scouts. I mean, it was fun to play in. I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that,
highly
yeah.
anticipated games. I mean, and knowing we were such a good team. I mean, it was just fun to play. And then everyone wanted to beat us too, and it was just
Oh
fun,
yeah,
like not letting that happen and stuff. So
100%. Just the pressure and all that good stuff. Really quick,
yeah,
since we're still talking about the U15 year, when did you know that Sioux Falls was kind of on your radar the most, and take us through the process of how you found out that you were drafted by them in the, I want to say, the second round of the Futures
second
phase one
round.
draft.
Yeah, I went
Yeah.
17th.
Yes.
So I mean,
I love how you know that. 17th overall.
not a big deal. All right.
Not a big deal.
So I mean, I think it was after the NCDP like camps, like the top 40 evaluation camps, is when like they started heavily scouting like those guys that were probably going. I mean, most everyone in those camps went. I mean, first, second, third round in the USHL draft. So I mean, that's where really all the USA, like every team was there. I mean, and then phone calls after that, like they found out who the kids that didn't make the NTDP were, and then the phone calls started going.
So
I
did
think I
teams
talked to,
directly call you personally,
yeah.
or did they call
So
your agent slash like dad?
no, so they would probably contact my agent, but I mean, I had like one-on-one calls with,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, probably half
Meetings.
the teams. Yeah, probably
Yeah.
half the teams. I mean,
Just to get to
there's
know you.
probably
Yeah.
yeah, there's probably a handful of teams that I didn't talk to. I mean, usually like those calls are probably like 10 to 30-minute calls, just like
Yeah, just to get
getting
to
to know
know
you.
me. I mean, they've done,
Yeah,
I guarantee you, their homework on every single one of these players. I think it was just to like put a voice to the name, really, and just kind of get to know you for 10,
that's really
15
all it was.
minutes.
And then like obviously some would like tell you where they think they would try to get you at, and then Sioux Falls was um really they called me I think a bunch, and then had a
Mm.
lot of conversations, and then I remember that I was either going to go to second overall to them or 17th because that's the picks they had, and then I
Yeah,
didn't go second.
yeah.
I didn't go second to them, and then I was like, all right, like anything could really open up now because I had talked to a bunch of teams, And then they ended up taking me at 17th, and then I was watching. They had like a live stream, and I was watching on my phone.
They didn't
So,
they didn't call you like right before or anything. They
no,
didn't text you like, hey, we took you to Pixon 17th overall. Keep an eye out. Congrats. No, they didn't even say a word, huh?
No, they just took me, and then I didn't get a call for like an hour.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, they were probably busy in the war room, especially with the Facebook draft.
I was pretty excited. I was getting a bunch of texts and stuff because
I think I texted you too. I texted you. I threw it on Instagram. I gave you a little shout out.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people were watching, so it was kind of cool.
It's a big deal.
It was also cool to see like, and 8 of my teammates that year got drafted. So our group chat was kind of buzzing, like, like congrats, like
congrats, yeah.
It's
a big step. Cool. Like I said, that's what I'm talking about. That U15 year was a really special year. Not only obviously you guys, I don't want to keep bringing it up, but you guys fell short obviously at nationals. But I mean, I think after you guys got past that, everyone's doors and futures really opened up towards the future, and I think it was more of a celebration of how special this group was at that year with the U15 level at Mission. Really quick, as well, can you talk us through a little bit of the recruiting process? Because I see that, I mean, this is, I know when you committed, Elite Prospects has it that you committed September 7th, 2021. I don't know if that's accurate or what. Can you just take us through exactly the recruiting process was like with, I mean, let's be honest, you probably had several offers, not just from Western Michigan University.
I remember, like teams were able to, I found this out actually the day of. So I guess teams were able to, like colleges were able to call you like officially on January 1st. And I didn't know that. So I slept in a little late on January 1st, and I missed a good handful of calls.
What? They already got your numbers and they were just already reaching out on January 1st. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, I remember I had a good amount of voicemails, be like, hey, like, this is so-and-so from wherever, like, just wanted to reach out, get in contact. And then I had a bunch of emails from these schools too. And I was like, oh, I really missed these calls. Like, because I didn't know. And then it was pretty cool. Like, I walked downstairs and like, mom, dad, like so-and-so called, like all these schools called, and it was pretty cool. And then so I see like those schools, like they stayed in touch a little, and then like some like faded out, some went harder, like it all depended. And then Western came in the picture. My main camp at Sioux Falls, so that main camp after I got drafted.
That's right. You committed when you were on the U16, correct?
Yeah.
Like middle of the year.
No, beginning. So
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a story about that. So
yeah, you would never do something like that in the middle of the year, Dan.
Hey man, when Western Michigan calls knocking and they're like, hey, yeah, we'll give you a spot here. And you're kind of like, I'll take it.
So I was at main camp, and obviously Andy Murray was the coach then. It's Pat Firschweiler. So Andy Murray, he was looking for my dad there, I think, and he got in contact with my dad, and then I talked to him, and then we kind of stayed in contact. And then obviously the summer went on, wasn't really playing hockey, and then the conversation picked up with him, and then he offered me like a scholarship and stuff there. And I thought about it for a little, and then like my sister goes there, so she's been going there for 4 years now. So I kind of grew up on that campus like a little bit. Like I remember like always going like moving days, and like went to hockey games growing up. I always thought it was the coolest thing. So it was pretty cool when I got that offer, and to like know that, oh, like I could be playing here in how many years. And then I actually like talked about it with my family. I wanted to visit this other places, and I just like thought like Western was like the place for me. So that's why I chose it. And then so I committed like pretty early, obviously after the 1st of September. And then I remember our first weekend, we were playing the T-Birds U16 year. And my first shift, I was just getting beaked, like for no reason.
What do you mean, like chirped?
Yeah, they were chirping me, and they were like, "Where the hell is he? Where the hell is Western Michigan?" And then this kid on my team goes, "It's a D1 school."
Wow, that's actually really surprising. The fact that these,
I was getting like about from nobodies. Like I was getting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If you
I mean,
U16 T-Birds, like you would think that they would know. I mean, let's be honest. So U16 T-Birds, obviously University of Denver. It's actually really funny because Denver plays in the NCHC, and so does Colorado College, and so does Western Michigan. So if they don't know, then
I think they were just trying to get to my head.
Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, they were
committed to the same.
It didn't. I was just kind of just laughing at them. So
yeah, that actually would just throw me completely off guard. I'd be like,
I mean,
committed to a school
Dan, you get it. You say anything just to say anything, right? Just try to get
I would definitely say that to Sharpie. Hey, I know you committed D1 to Western Michigan last year. Play for the T-Birds, which is in Colorado. University of Denver and Colorado College are both D1 hockey schools there. I'm going to chirp this kid and pretend like I don't know where Western Michigan is, even though they play in the same conference as Western Michigan. That's just bad. So
they
were trying to give you the safety school chant.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't really.
That would have caught me so off guard. I would have been like,
I just kind of laughed at them. Like, I didn't go like after I committed. Like, it was like we had a game like 2 weeks, and I didn't think anything of it. I didn't think I was gonna get chirped or anything. And then my first shift, I'm just the face off, of course, is in the neutral zone right next to their bench, and I line up closest to the bench, and I'm just getting beaked for no reason for committing. It was just like is anyone on your team?
Public too, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how they found out.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe like a line chart or something.
Yeah, line charts, social media. Maybe they saw it on Elite Prospects or something like that. But it's just weird to me how, you committed a week before and already like the entire, teams that you're about to play like already know. That's definitely weird. I wonder who made that public. It could have been Western Michigan. Obviously, they wanted to say that, but it was just weird to me how teams already found out that you were committed. A couple days right before you actually like committed.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty interesting.
Whatever. And it was a fun process. I mean, it was always cool getting those texts from schools.
Well, yeah, of course, 100%. And then Sharpie probably had like 3 points that game against Colorado, the T-Birds.
I remember, I actually had a hurt back. I had a bad back, and
because you're so tall.
No, I did something. I was playing golf or something. I hurt my back.
Oh my god!
I was playing golf.
And I got hurt.
Pulled something. So I remember I had a bunch of like KT tape on my back, a bunch of bio freeze, and I was hurting, but I wanted to play, and then I got nailed. Like I remember this specifically. I was skating up, cut through the middle, and I kind of opened up to the guy, and he kind of like Cronwall hit me, like he hit me with his back, and I flew into the boards, and their whole bench went nuts. And I remember guys just standing over me, just ripping me. But it did not feel good on the back.
It happened.
But yeah, that was my first game after committing. It was just kind of a wake up call.
Yeah, good. I mean, hey,
yeah,
you're the man now. You have an NCAA commitment in your resume. So obviously, kids are going to be going for you. Obviously, they're little jerks and all that good stuff. They want to be obviously have a D1 commitment. So
yeah, but no, it was definitely cool.
All right, Sharpie, while we're here, Sarge, let's go.
What?
Let's go. Take over, man.
No, you guys are having really good back and forth. So it's like awesome because Sharpie, you're doing a great job. So I appreciate it. And
yeah, you're doing a great job talking.
You're doing a great job asking questions. Sharpie,
Yeah.
you talked about like highly anticipated games and people coming out and like your first experience with that. What were your nerves like? And I'm sure it got easier the more times you got
Yeah.
to like meet those like, times with more high pressure like situations.
I mean,
What was it like? And then what was your support system too? Like I'm assuming your mom and your dad and your family and stuff, but talk about that a little.
I mean, there was always those high anticipated games. I mean, almost every weekend we had, because obviously we were the mission and everyone wanted to beat us. So we knew that everyone was going to bring their best game. So every game was anticipated highly. But I remember we used to have a little rivalry between Windy City Storm, and when we would play at their rink, they would bring like all their high school friends. And it'd be
I
like,
heard about this. They
yeah,
used
so
to pack the barn. It was
Pack
like
they
barn.
would,
Minnesota
would
high school
pack.
hockey game.
Yeah, so they
No, I'm
didn't have a
serious,
big
Sarge. It
rink.
was unreal. Like
So
full
they
stands.
didn't have a big rink at all, and there was stands about like maybe 4 rows like of just bleachers, and they just
Orbit
wasn't
Ice Arena,
much.
right? Orbit.
Yeah,
Right?
so
Yeah.
they would like parents would have to like get there early to like watch their kids play, like because those kids would get there kind of early to get a spot. Like they would
Yeah.
stand on the boards and the glass and like hang over and yell at us, and it was just like those games were, because I remember it was kind
Sounds
of our
like a
COVID
blast.
year. Yeah, it was kind of our COVID year, and we had a scrimmage because no one could play, so we had to call it a scrimmage. So it wasn't even really a game, and we were just like, it's just like a scrimmage. Like obviously, it's gonna be a tough game, but when we got on the ice, like the place was packed and it was buzzing.
Nobody
And
was
it
keeping
was
5 feet away.
no, and it was. I mean, there were signs there like, "Oh, like stay 6 feet away from each other." No, there it was packed. Like people were all around the boards, like kids, they were yelling.
No
They had
masks.
chants going on. Yeah, I mean,
No masks.
not that I care or anything, but I mean, we had to wear the mask on the ice, and these kids are. We were
That's
like, oh,
yeah.
we were
That's
like,
imagine if you
we
had
were-
a mask and a bubble. Oh man, you
yeah,
couldn't breathe.
yeah, we were like, all right, really, and then so those games, and then so we had a state championship game because we couldn't do it at Mount Prospect, so of course Windy City had to do it at their rink, so bit of a home ice advantage for them, and they packed it and it was loud, and these kids are like bunch of randoms, they don't know anything about hockey, so
No, yeah,
anything they're just there to
Yeah.
they're probably all
Make noise. Yeah.
they're probably all bombed and stuff, so anytime like a little rub off would happen, the place would go nuts, like it was just kind of stupid, and they would score and it would just be like the place would erupt. So we ended up losing state. We actually didn't win a game in their building because I don't know, we just
Tough.
couldn't match their energy. We just had each other, they had everyone there, so it was fun. But those are the games you marked on your calendar, like obviously HPHL games, us versus Honey Baked growing up, those are always big, because that's when in Michigan, that's when the scouts would come. So I mean, I remember first HPHL weekend, it was packed. Like I didn't like know like all the teams, and I was kind of like, oh, like who's this, who's that? Like I didn't know all the teams, like what they were all about. And then like you got familiar as the year went. I mean, obviously I was a little nervous playing, but as it got easier, I mean,
Yeah.
it wasn't too
It's like-
bad. So
It's like most things, right? Like maybe the first time you do it, you're like you have a lot of nerves. And then the more times you see that situation, feeling a little bit better. So that makes sense.
yeah, definitely, yeah.
So talk about like the first day you showed up at Sioux Falls, how you felt like the team is, how you like the whole, I guess, you've been there for 2 years now. So just talk about like that environment and that experience so far.
Well, here.
So-
First, talk about how because he played 7 games last year, so you want him to
Okay.
talk about that experience.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
Yeah.
we no offense, Sharpie, but hey, lost
Oh.
at nationals. Boom, on a flight to Sioux Falls, South Dakota, like 2 days later.
Yeah.
Do you want him to talk about that, or do you want him to talk about like starting at Sioux Falls this year?
No, start with that because that's awesome. I'm sure you were like obviously bummed, and then you were like,
Yeah,
"Oh, let's
so-
go!" Like more hockey.
So I remember, so obviously went home in the car, and I was just like, my mom was just like, all right, we need to pack this. You need to start packing. Like, you got to get your gear ready and everything. Because you're there for a month. Like, you need to bring like a good amount of clothes. Like, you're there for a while. So I remember, so first day I get there. So I walk in the locker room, and I remember this older guy had a shirt off and a big wolf tattoo. Of course.
Grizzled.
He had a big tattoo, and I was just like, what is this? Because like obviously you don't see kids at U16 with tattoos.
No, or full beards, maybe.
Yeah, it was just a whole different league, and it's just like, all right, like this is what I'm getting myself into. Like, this is like, it's the real deal. So I mean, obviously, like first practice was a little nervous, but obviously could hang with those guys and was right there with them the whole month and stuff. But I remember first game, I had a rookie lap. I was pretty nervous for that, but
That's awesome.
and then the first game, I was pretty nervous. But after like my first couple shifts, I got my feet wet. It was just like
acclimated.
Yeah.
Well,
So
while we're right there, did you do anything to get the nerves out? Like, a lot of times too, right? You try to either like make a good first pass, or lay the body, like do something to like.
I remember my first shift that I got the puck at neutral zone, and I kind of like skate in the zone. I just got a shot in net. I was like, all right, like there's my
Let's
first
go.
shot in net. Like, and then I remember like it was my first shift. I was like, all right, like, I got this. Like,
yeah, I'm
so
here.
it's not like,
There's a reason why I'm here.
Yeah, so I remember like, oh, I can make an impact. And my second game, I got an assist and stuff. So it was pretty cool. It was pretty good experience. It was definitely big for this year. So going in the year with confidence, knowing like, oh, like you deserve to be here. Like, you can play in this league. So, and then obviously like you kind of walk in, like, all the guys too, like the guys that return, like you're like one of them now. Like, you're like
You're familiar with them.
Yeah. So it's way easier than becoming like a new like 05 younger guy, not knowing anyone, like trying to make a spot on the team and stuff. So
Yeah. Did you spend a lot of time there in the off season, or did you come home? Or what did you do?
We came home, so we were already out of the playoffs. So like everyone was just anxious to get home. So the day after, so we lost Saturday night or something, the last game of the season, and we got out there Sunday morning. So me and my billet brother there, he used to play for the Steel, so he was actually coming back to see his billets the Steel because he had to drive to Michigan. So he just dropped me at home, and then kind of just chilled out. I didn't really feel like skating or anything for a couple of weeks, so I kind of just relaxed, just hung out with buddies and stuff.
That's good.
And then I started summer training. So yeah. It was pretty good summer. Definitely had a good summer.
Nice. So yeah, you showed up, like, I'm sure, like you mentioned too, right? Having that first experience of being the new guy, and you're like exposed to a whole new world. And then now you had the off season to train, what you're preparing for. Now you show up there. What do you feel like your role's like? And how, like, what's your mission to, like, contribute to the team and stuff like that?
I mean, I'd say my role is, contribute offensively, but not only offensively, but defensively, have a good stick and stuff. Kind of be a leader out there. As a younger guy, it's kind of hard to be like a leader, but gotta learn how to do that. But I mean, I have to say, done a pretty good job as leader. But I mean, you kind of control the game out there. I mean, that's what I like to do. Make good passes, join the rush, contribute offensively and stuff. So
It's good.
So yeah, so I like to do both ways, a little 2A game. So
yeah, it's good. Sioux Falls, is that South Dakota, right?
Yeah, it is South
So
Dakota.
I'm sure you got one mean dude on your team. Is it the guy with the wolf tattoo, or like who's probably the tough guy?
No, he's gone. Like, what do you mean one main dude?
Like the tough guy. Like, if something happens, this guy's gonna answer it.
We do have a tough guy. He's Clint Levins. He's already got 2 or 3 fights this year, so he's pretty. You don't want you don't want to mess with him if you're on our
Oh
team.
yeah, this is his third year in the league. Last year had 154 pins. The year before that had 121 committed to Providence.
Everybody's checking the game notes on this guy.
Yeah, oh yeah. You better be advised if he's on the ice.
He will break your jaw. So, I mean, I mess with him in practice. Acting like
and you're like, I can take you any day.
Yeah, I mess with him in practice.
And he's a forward too, huh?
Yeah, he's not going to do anything, but he hits hard. He will change the game. Yeah, he'll change the game around.
Just plays the game the hard way.
I remember a couple games ago, he came from I was on ice and I was going up to kind of angle the guy in the neutral zone, and he came across and he nailed someone. The guy like turned and kind of hit him from behind, and gloves just shed. I remember he got out of there, and I was kind of first one in because I was right there, and these guys are going after me. I'm like, where are you? Like, this is supposed to be you, and he was already getting taken to the penalty box. So I remember I joined him in the box because it was stupid scrum, but I mean, it was so funny.
Quick.
You saw him come out of nowhere and just nail someone. So
on the choo-choo tracks.
Yeah.
And then, so, going through the season, I guess I'm not really sure, the Hlinka Cup, right? You were part of that. What was your experience like with that? Was that in the middle of the season?
That was in the summer. No, that was summer. That was.
And they picked those teams out of national camp, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it was probably the coolest hockey experience of my life. I mean,
throwing that USA jersey on.
Yeah. So obviously national camp was in Buffalo. So it was a week-long camp. And so if you made the All-Star thing, you're there for another 3-4 days. So I was like, I made it. I was like, all right, I'm here. I'm going to be here for another 3 days. I got to make this team. I got to make it worth it, because it would just kind of suck to be there for a week and 3 days in Buffalo in these horrible dorms and stuff. So, and then obviously got my name called in the room, went in the room, and it's just such like a sigh of relief.
Yeah. So how did that happen? Was it like after the two how many All-Star games did you guys play? 2, 3?
3, I think.
Yeah.
So after the third one, we all showered up and stuff. We went up to this conference room, and the coaching staff. Yeah, everyone. All
both teams.
Yeah, so we all went in this conference room, and then a coach went in the room with just pad of paper, and like obviously everyone knew like that's the team. So I didn't hear my name called out like from the first few guys. All right.
Wait. So he literally had a piece of paper and a pen, and he literally just named off the roster in front of everyone.
Yeah. So I mean,
wow.
I heard my name. I mean, my name was like probably like the 6 names, and then so like once your name got called, you just got up and you went in a different room. It's just like the guys I was sitting next to, I don't think they made it, and it was just kind of like all right, I'll see you guys later. Like I felt bad, like, but it was just like so cool to hear it, because I remember I was in the All-Star game for 5 Nations last year. I didn't make it, so I knew the feeling of not getting your name called. Yeah. So it was so cool, and then
wow, that's crazy.
So then I remember texting my parents, like, because my parents weren't there. I was there. Well, I remember texting like, I made the team, like, and then they were just like so proud of me. And then so we all flew home. Obviously, waited a little bit, and then it was probably 3 weeks. So just Zoom calls, like getting you ready for this, like knowing like what to expect. Like then they told us like it's gonna go by so fast, like, and it did. So.
The actual tournament itself?
Yeah, so I remember we got to Calgary. We all flew into Calgary. We all stayed there for a day, and then we all took a bus to Red Deer. And then we had probably 5 days of no games, just practices. Probably practice once or twice a day. I mean, those days were kind of long. They were kind of boring, just slow, just getting like the team ready, like
obviously, get your feet wet a little bit. Some guys haven't been skating as much over the summer as other guys.
I mean, it was definitely good for us. I mean, we had some fun, definitely kept the mood light there, but then there were some serious times, and we worked on, like, obviously it was just like a team practice. We worked on power play, penalty kill, 5-on-5, 3-on-2s. Like, it was the real deal there. I mean, it was just so cool. Like, I remember you got there and your gear was there. Like everyone was like, "Oh, like look at my gloves! Like these are so cool! Like the helmets,
the
and
red,
everything."
white, and blue.
Yeah, and then our first exhibition game was against Slovakia, and I remember walking in the locker room. All the USA jerseys are set up. It's just like,
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
here we go. Like it was
Pretty
so
sick
cool.
to see. Yeah.
And then getting ready, and obviously like you're walking around the rink and you see all these other countries and seeing how they act. Like, I remember our locker room was right next to Sweden, and you would hear their music, and it was so loud. It was just Swedish.
What
music.
kind? Swedish techno, $5.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was techno.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Sweet. So
And they
Swedish
had-
techno music.
Yeah, they had their music going, and then we had Switzerland to our right. They didn't come out of the locker too much. And then we had the Czechs, who were mean. Like they didn't fuck around at all. And so like walking by, they would just stare at you. Like no fucks given. They would just stare at you.
Yeah, because they wanted
And
to beat
so-
you.
Yeah, and the Slovaks, I don't know where they were at, but it was just so cool, like walking like through like the back, like behind the scenes, like because like obviously like you watch the World Juniors and you just see like them coming out of lockers, but like behind the scenes, like everyone's by each other.
Yeah.
Like everyone like passes by each other, teams walk by each other, and then I mean, putting on the jersey for the first time was so cool to me, like having my name, my number on the jersey, and then like really like going out for warm-ups and like seeing like USA versus Slovakia. It was so cool. And then like I happened to talk 2 times that game, so it was pretty cool to score in the USA jersey. Like I know it's exhibition game, but it's still so cool. I mean,
I remember
so
that you texted me during it or after it. You're like, "Hey, did you see my goal?" And I'm like, "What's going on right now?" I'm like, "I'm at work. What's up? What's going on?"
Yeah,
He's like, I'm playing for USA. And I'm like, "No, I know that. I said congrats, but I didn't know." He's like, "Yeah, we won." I forgot what was it, like 7-2?
Yeah,
It was, yeah. And then
Yeah,
you're like,
and the
"Yeah,
goal-
you see my goal, bro?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yes, I did. Send me the highlight film." Yeah, send it.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Score twice there. I mean, it was still exhibition, but it's still pretty cool.
No,
Scoring
yeah,
them.
of course, 100%. I think you had
And
an
then-
assist that game too, no?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, it was pretty good game.
Yeah, like
For-
2 points.
First game is
yeah.
first game is playing for Team USA, so it was
Mhm.
SK Huilet there, and then the next day we'd practice, right? And then you were really like dialed in, like
Well,
here
yeah.
we
Now the real
yeah.
group stage
So then
starts.
we played like Germany or something, like blew them out of the water.
Yeah, you did 8-1.
Yeah, and then we played. Did we play Finland next?
Finland
Yeah,
next.
they were good. They were a good team. We didn't beat them. We didn't play our best, but they were a good team. They've been playing together for a while, so they knew how to play, and they got 3rd place that tournament.
Yeah.
And then we played the Czechs,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Checks.
And so funny thing about the Czechs, and I mentioned how they're
Yeah, just mean. Yeah.
And so someone on our team crossed the red line in warm-ups.
Is that a
And-
penalty or no? Or
No,
did the Czechs just
and-
take it personally?
They took it personally, and someone got a hack to the back of the leg, like a mean one.
During
And then
warm-ups?
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know really. I don't think the refs are on the ice.
That's
and so-
surprising though. They should
So
be on the
someone,
ice.
so like we kind of took notes, so we kind of started fucking with them like a little bit. So we started like going over the rat a little, get them angry. And so they started cross-checking. Like if you went over, you're gonna get a slap shot to your back of the leg,
Wow.
a stick, or a cross-check. You were getting something. And I remember, so we were all down. We were playing the rebound game, like
Mhm.
whoever is at the top flicks it. So I remember
Yeah.
Musty. He's sitting in on the dot, and his ass he's like leaned over like on their side a little, and he's just eating cross checks from 6 of them. They're just standing there, just pushing, and he's just
Oh
going
my
back.
God.
He would get pushed over, and he'd just go back, and it was so funny. Finally, refs came out, but like they did not like you going on their side of the ice. It was
I think they just don't like Americans at this point.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I mean, I don't
Oh my
know, but
God.
it was nuts. But
You
it
gotta
was-
try
it
and
was
find the
lit.
video. I don't know
Yeah,
if
I
I
don't-
know for a fact there was a stream for
on-
it.
No, it was on NHL Network. They showed it. They like showed like what
Really?
was
The
happening.
entire warm-ups?
No, they just showed like
Oh.
the clips. Like they were.
I would love to see the clips. I don't even remember them.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
have it, but I remember it. But it was a little warm-up battle, but it was definitely really, really cool thing.
Yeah. Obviously a great privilege, and that's amazing that you had that experience. Anybody on that team, or like, I know you mentioned the Finns like being pretty good. Any of your teammates or any other countries that you're like, man, like these guys are on the map and they're pretty good, or yeah, like
Obviously watching, we didn't play Canada, but obviously watching Canada was ridiculous.
Who was on that team? I'm gonna try and find their roster.
Barlow. I mean, I don't remember like specific names, but
I'll try and find
Matthew
that.
Wood. Matthew Wood, it was 05.
Oh yeah. He's at UConn right now. I remember that kid.
Yeah, I mean, they were obviously favored to win, and like, I remember the games they were kind of crowded. I mean, the upper bowl was just scouts, like just blocked off the scouts, but the
Yeah.
lower bowl sometimes would be kind of crowded. Like obviously, like we kind of brought a little crowd, and then like once the game started to get more serious, like that's when the crowds would start coming. But Canada would sell out the lower bowl, and it was just like
Oh, it's in what? It was what in Red Deer?
It was in Red Deer, yeah. So obviously
Yeah.
they were selling out. So
that's expected. Did your parents go?
Yeah, my parents did go. Yeah,
Hey.
So they spent the week, and then they hung out with like a bunch of like all the parents did like fun stuff with each other like out there, and then
Well, yeah.
it's like on our days off, like since they were like slow, like we'd have practice or we'd go to the rink and stretch at like 10 a.m. or something. And then they took us to like a golf course, like in the mountains kind of. What else did they do with us? I'm not sure, but I remember they took us to golf course. They took us bowling one time. They just kept us moving.
Well, yeah, I think there's no point in sitting in your hotel room.
Yeah, and I remember we were in our hotel one time and we were all eating dinner, and then like we would obviously like walk out like when we're done. I remember this guy, this like super fan, like every day would
of USA or just the tournament?
No, of the tournament of Canada. He was wearing a Canada jersey, but he had like he would stand outside our hotel, and every day he'd ask us for autographs, and we'd be like, we already signed this. We'd be like, I want you to sign again.
Oh man. Well, he knew. I mean, he knew that the type of stage that you guys are on. I mean, obviously, I'm looking at Team Canada's roster from that tournament. You had Caleb Ritchie, Brandon Yeager, I think, who was projected to go top 10 this year.
Yeah.
Ethan Gauthier, Matthew Wood, as you said, and Tanner Howe. Sarge, I don't know if you know this, but this Tanner Howe kid has been playing with Connor Bedard for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So you can tell that
he has a few points.
He's Let me check. He had 4 points in that tournament. Yeah, like right now he has 45 points in 32 games, and he's 17. Yeah.
Yeah, these kids, those kids were ridiculous. I mean, they were in our hotel too, and I remember someone on our team got trapped in the elevator with a bunch of Canadians, and
like players or like parents or super fans.
So players. So someone on our team got trapped with like 5 Canadians. So it's definitely awkward. And then he got out on the floor early, and I remember he goes like, "Good luck, boys." And they go, "Thanks, bud." Like they all just buddy bombed him, and he felt horrible about himself. He's like, "I just got buddy bombed by the Canadians. Like they think they're shit don't stink." Like it was so funny. I remember him telling us the story.
Oh yeah,
but it was pretty funny story.
Pretty interesting.
That's awesome. Danny, you got any? I have a few questions like for like wrapping up wise, but do you have any?
Yeah, really quick, since we're on the Hlinka Gretzky Cup, anyone from your team that you kind of want to give a little bit of a shout out? Anyone that, I mean, obviously I know some of these players. Obviously Musty, I watched him at Nationals when he was at the Avalanche before he went to the OHL. Really special player. I think he's projected to go in the first round this year in the NHL draft.
Yeah, he should. He's tearing up the
OHL. I think he had like 7 points. He had 7 points in one game like last week, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, he.
What is that pretty good?
All Phantom assists.
Yeah, I know he's
No, he's a special
he's
player.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's talented.
good.
Yeah.
He's very good.
Yeah, he's a
Anyone
good
else
guy,
that you
too.
want to kind of just be like, hey, you know what? I want to give a quick shout out to this and this person. Just it doesn't have to be obviously a player due to his performance. Just anyone on the team that you're like, you know
I
what? That guy's a
I
beauty.
kind of hung out with. I mean, there was kind of like cliques going on like at USA. I don't want to say cliques, but there was like the guys who were playing like poker. I remember Musty was playing.
Musty was
cards.
leading the way.
Yeah, he was playing in his room. I remember he was playing cards with a few guys. I mean, I was hanging out with Connor Brown, Griffin Erdman, Will McDonough, just a couple like other USHL guys, and it was just kind of like you kind of like fit in like where you fit in. I mean, everyone obviously got along. Everyone hung out together. I remember we had a water slide at our hotel, so
oh my god,
we all took advantage of that. So,
children.
Like we would all go in a train together, and it was just. And then when we got rolled out of the tournament, like we were going for the 5th place now. We like not everyone used to go in the hot tub and water slide, but then it was like we were like mandatory water slide, like come on,
In the
like,
group chat, mandatory water slide, 7 p.m.
Yeah, it was just kind of just funny like that, but I mean,
awesome.
it was a really good time. I mean,
yeah. I mean, the experience. I mean, like you were saying.
Oh
I mean,
my God,
yeah. I think I was texting you during it, like the amount of just scouts, NHL scouts that were there were.
Oh, it was
were
ridiculous.
Probably,
I mean, every NHL GM was there. I mean,
really, even the GMs were there. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I know he's not a GM, but I remember walking past like Jason Spezza.
Oh yeah, he's a
I
special assistant to the GM now for Toronto.
And I didn't realize like how big of a guy he is.
Like tall, right?
Yeah, and like
he's
thick,
huge.
like,
yeah.
And I remember walking by, and I was like,
you wanted to go one-on-one.
Like, I was like,
You're like, I could stop you.
I was like, yeah, that's Jason Spezza. Like,
that's an NHL Hall of Famer potentially.
Yeah, like you don't walk past Jason Spezza every day. Like,
no,
you don't walk past like those guys. Like, I remember kind of walking by Kyle Davidson, like GM of Blackhawks. Like, I was like, oh, like I see him on TV all the time, like from Chicago.
There
like,
he is.
The news,
you know,
like and just walk by him, like Montreal GM there.
Kent Hughes.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes sense. I mean,
it's awesome. It's got to put a lot of pep in your step too, like a lot of motivation. Like seeing this guy, and you're kind of building yourself into that situation where you're like,
yeah. I mean, it was kind of like the first time like you're playing in front of those NHL guys. So, like, obviously, first impressions are huge in the hockey world. So, I mean, everyone just trying to leave their mark on those scouts, but most importantly, play for their country and try to win. So,
yeah,
that was probably the coolest thing was just to be able to like play for your country. And I thought it was so cool. Like, you know, like you see like Team USA, like Miracle, like all huddle around the net, like before, like we did that. I thought it was so cool. And it was like the USA on 3. And it's just, it's like
I could see that 1, 2, 3 USA.
Yeah, it was like you grow up as a kid, like, oh, like I want to do that one day. Like,
who do you play for?
Mm-hmm.
And then you're like USA.
Yeah, it was so cool, and then it was just all around. It was such a cool experience.
Yeah, Daniel, you got anything else?
You guys don't play the Steel, right?
No, we don't. We play in the West. Yeah, we play in the West, so we only play the Western Conference.
I was gonna say, I was like,
let's go make a trip though.
8-hour drive.
Drive. Enjoy that.
I mean, I got to look at your schedule to see maybe potentially something that's a lot closer. Because no offense, I love you, Sharpie, but not driving 8 hours.
I don't blame you. I'd
rather just watch on TV.
Back. Yeah,
I'd rather just watch on TV on that one.
Nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
Or I'll see you over the summer.
Yeah, definitely.
Go ahead, Zach.
All right, wrapping it up.
Sarge. They're both Zach.
Are you like looking forward, like to college and playing at Western Michigan, or are you kind of focused on your day to day and what you're doing now, or is it like a combination?
I mean, obviously, like I'm not going in next year, so I'm gonna take my first gap year and go back to the USHL. So when I think about it, sometimes like I watch their games, sometimes be like, oh yeah, like, it's gonna be so cool to play it. I remember like the Western Michigan game, like the student section of it, I was like, oh, it's gonna be so cool to play in front of. But I don't think about it like all the time, like playing there. But like my main focus is Sioux Falls right now and being the best player I can and getting myself ready to play college hockey. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's good mindset for sure.
yeah.
You know, you mentioned like a lot of other people that, you know, coaches, stuff like that you kind of gave some shout outs to, besides Dan, like the older brother here. Any other like shout outs, or feel like you got everybody?
I mean,
JT.
probably my buddy.
Shout out to my boy.
Probably shout out my boy JT. No,
He actually said it.
I mean, I don't know.
What do you mean you don't know? Are you kidding me? Come on.
Maybe
at
my mom.
At
My
Bridgedale,
mom. My
you
mom.
literally- There you go.
My mom coached me for a while, so obviously give a lot of thanks to her for coaching me and teaching me how to play. So obviously Dan and Doug at Bridgedale.
There you go.
That's how we met, baby.
Yeah,
Nice.
Bridgedale. I mean, Bridgedale. I give a lot of thanks to Bridgedale. I mean, not every day you can go to the rink and skate every day and then go to school. So I mean, it was. I thought it
Awesome.
was pretty cool.
Yeah.
But obviously skating with good players too. So
Who taught you at Bridgedale?
you.
Yeah. And what did I tell you? You are lazy sometimes. And you're like,
Yeah.
no, Dan. And I'm like, wait till you get to the USHL. And then I'm glad that you saw that guy with the tattoo on his back and you're like, whoa.
I gotta pick it up a
Yeah.
little.
Yeah, you think
Yeah.
you think he's lazy?
Yeah.
Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
Sharpie, dude, thanks a lot. Have you ever done like a podcast like this or no?
No, it's my first one.
Man, I'm serious. You are a natural. Yeah, thanks for you gave a lot of good stories, a lot of good insights, all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, taking enough of your time. I know you're getting ready to go to breakfast with the
To
boys
breakfast
right now.
with the boys.
Yes. So, hey,
Yeah.
seriously, can't thank you enough. Keep
Yeah,
your eye
thank
out
you.
for you, and
Yeah.
appreciate everything. Dan,
We'll
you got
keep in
anything?
touch. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, we'll keep in
definitely.
touch. Heal up. Obviously, I think the most important thing is your mouth, your health. Don't go in too early. Talk with the doctors. I don't know why you're smiling. I literally just gave this kid a huge like, hey, you know what? I love you. Get better. I hope you're healthy. And then he just starts laughing. Like,
Yeah, well, it's hard when you're talking, Dan. You just got that natural effect on people.
I'm serious, man. You got your
Yeah, I
whole-
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
no, I'm serious. You know, take as much time as you can. Talk with your doctors, trainers, etc. Rest up. Obviously, I think the most important thing is your health, especially the fact that you got a puck and stick to your mouth, man. I can't imagine. Just ouch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
obviously, we wish you nothing but the best in your hockey endeavors, futures. Go Sioux Falls. I want a stick. I want a hat. I want a shirt.
Maybe.
What do you mean,
I'm on a
maybe?
limited supplies of sticks. I only have 3 right now.
Okay, I'm not talking about sticks. I want like a nice hat. Like, look at the nice hat that you're wearing. Let me get one.
All right, I'll see what.
Let me get one. Maybe a nice workout shirt. You know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Dan's a huge workout guy.
Yeah, huge
All
workout guy.